bombs.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been like every week. When we ended the last episode and the big bullshit bill passed, I thought like, oh, next episode will probably just be all about the bill. And of course, so much happens in a week's time. So maybe we probably need to record twice a week at this point. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what Free Speech TV and what we're talking about. And why would you want? Because you get two times.
I mean, come on.
Oh, well, first wait.
We already bypassed it, bro. We know what we're here for.
You won't remember, but my name is Jeffrey Epstein. I'm co-founder and CEO of One of the Media. It's right there underneath as I'm talking, but you will remember. It's a miracle.
Yeah.
I don't like that. No, I wanted to go back to being peaceful and serene. Because I'm a very calm, peaceful.
Until we're talking about Joe Biden and the Democrats.
Oh my gosh.
I did see, every time I see a Joe Biden, I did see a Joe Biden story where he was like, oh, they're undoing everything that I've done. I'm so sad.
When Joe Biden died, Miracle's gonna dance.
I'll do a party.
She'll praise dance.
What type of party?
No,
because you know what? I saw something when somebody was like, oh, y'all want to blame the Democrats now that everything's falling apart, like they're not in power. And I was like, well, how did they fall out of power? How did they fall out of power?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And I wanted to even get like more in depth into it because people were obviously talking about like what's been happening in the Middle East. And it was like, oh, you mean all the things we told you was happening? Now you want to believe it when you had the power to stop it? Now you're afraid you don't have health care, but now you're afraid? Now you want to speak up like, maybe what they're talking about was true. It's like, you know what, but it's okay. But it's okay.
The thing that Miracle and Trump have in common, Trump's comments on the Texas floods that have killed hundreds. Quote, if you look at that water situation, that was really the Biden setup.
Jesus Christ.
Now that's Biden's. This nigga was golfing eating ice cream.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
But I know you still got to introduce yourself, but I just want the situation in Texas is like, it's so sad.
Very
because
sad.
I feel like whenever we're like, oh, people are going to die, everybody's like, you're being dramatic, you're being reactive.
And every time we say that, people die.
People die.
Yeah.
And now people are dying in ways that we have not foreseen. Dying because no one was there to give me the alert that like flooding is about to happen.
Yeah.
I know we all hate the little alerts that go off on our phones because you always be doing something and it's like those
it's like
what is going
throw
on?
your phone across the room.
Those save lives. And if there's no, and from St. Louis to Texas, if there is no one there to like ring the alarm and be like, get very inside, go to higher ground, people die. And what we're talking about, just in case people don't know, is in Texas there's these storms that are happening. It's the season, and there was a campground, a girls' camp, and a lot of girls and camp counselors, like I believe it was maybe 22 people at the camp, but I believe maybe like 50 to 70 people overall, perished because there was flash flooding. Right. And no one was given the alarm to tell people to seek shelter, to go inside, all those things, and people were just outside and got carried
There's
away.
also a piece, like if I live in Texas, like you're going to have to give me like Ted Cruz's itinerary because every time he leaves.
Oh, my days, yeah.
The hell, bro. It's almost like he knows something was about to happen. Yeah. Because once again, tragedy hits Texas and Ted Cruz is nowhere to be found. And
where was he this time?
He was in Greece. He was in Greece enjoying his best life. The last time Cancun, this time Greece.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
To be Ted Cruz, man.
Yeah, again, and he'll probably get voted in again. I think this was part of where the controversy was because people, I wouldn't want to be the person that in tragedy, like, oh, that's what you voted for. Like, to me, that's people have died. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were talking about children dying.
Yeah. And a lot of them. Yeah.
But that was a lot of the commentary, and Ted Cruz probably will get voted on again in this big beautiful bill. They cut even more out of the National Weather Service and these other entities.
And it's the National Weather Service, if I'm not mistaken, who's responsible for these alerts, correct?
Correct. And then the Texas people actually blame them.
Right. And then it's like, well, they've been defunded completely and effectively removed from operations. So,
well, who are you, brother? Do you want to introduce yourself? Do you think?
Yeah, it's me, Ayatollah Al-Said, me, Pharaoh Farouk, the Supreme Asiatic Intelligent Lead Divine, the toxic one from Toronto.
Yes.
Yeah. The Blue Jays are in first place right now.
Oh, is that why you have your Toronto?
Yeah, I'm be Blue Jayed out for the foreseeable future.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
So that means they're good.
Yes, first place is always good.
But sometimes it's like they're good or everybody else is just like really, really bad.
Yeah, they're in the hardest division in baseball too.
So they're good.
Yeah, very good.
Excelling.
Yeah.
So, controversy is again hit.
Where?
The Trump administration.
Shocker.
And this is again one of those questions, right?
Is it better or worse for them at this point?
I don't think this is great.
If anybody's gonna turn sugar to shit, it's Donald Trump.
But if you're
or shit to sugar,
if there's been a 24, if there's been, but again, this is how crazy. Like the Trump supporters are. Like, literally, this man has more pictures and videos with Jeffrey Epstein than any other living human being.
Yeah.
And somehow you thought he would be the one that was going to expose who was down with Jeffrey Epstein. But again, it's always that question we've had of when will be that line in the sand that MAGA will draw.
Would you think these Epstein files are going at this point, or ever will be, bigger than the Kennedy redactions?
Well, I think in this dispensation, probably, because it was like a central point. Remember, the MAGA and the QAnons were all about, the Democrats, they're Pizzagate, and they're grabbing up children and they're bringing them into the pizza place, whatever they were thinking. And then Jeffrey Epstein was like the center. Oh, Jeffrey Epstein, him and Clinton, him and Oprah, but again, like when it got to, but what about all these pictures with Trump in it? Oh, but Trump didn't know at the time.
Yeah. They're just shooting bail. Yeah.
There are all these excuses. So now Trump's in office, and remember, Trump comes into office and he has a big meeting with all of these right-wing influencers and supposedly gave them we're going to release all the Epstein stuff. But what they didn't tell you was Biden did a little Epstein releasing. And one of the names on it was Donald Trump. So, earlier this year, the Attorney General of the Department of Justice, Mamdani, was on Fox News. You can cue up this clip.
I got it, yeah.
And she had this to say.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Yeah, but you did. And what you saw was Donald Trump.
Yeah, I was about to say, them flight logs and everything.
Donald Trump, Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr. So now, they're saying...
I don't think I ever knew what Mamdani looked like.
They're saying now... You have a comment, bro?
No, she looks a lot like the speaker lady.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Trump has a type. I mean, I think we kind of know that right now.
Yeah,
although Trump's type is...
I'm scrolling back and forth between these two clips.
Trump likes more so the immigrant blonde woman. That's his type. But, that's another story. Yes.
The Aryan dream.
Yes. But he has a type. And Mamdani and Caroline Levitt are part of that type.
They really do look alike.
But remember, so now it came out that there is no client list. The FBI apparently said that there was no client list. Apparently, there was no reason that Epstein could sue.
He just killed himself just because, with no evidence.
Just because.
Just felt like, you know what, the pressures of jail is too much.
It was just a Tuesday, and he felt like, hey.
He says going up on a Tuesday.
That's probably in very, very poor taste. But again, Now there's no client list, so Caroline Levitt was asked directly, if you want to play that clip.
My God.
What happened to it was on your desk to review to it doesn't exist at all?
Okay, so the FBI looks at the circumstances surrounding the death of Jeffrey Epstein. According to the report, this systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network on Fox News.
Got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that. But again, when it comes to the FBI and the Department of Justice, they are more than committed to ensuring that bad people are put behind bars.
Caroline.
Miracle.
If the Trump administration is going to do one thing, it's going to play in your fucking face.
Play in your face.
So, first of all, you thought you were talking about the client list. We thought you were talking about crimes that one person committed, not other people. We were focused on the one. Y'all got distracted. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like her ability to deflect is crazy.
That is
it's insane.
Yes.
Shout out to Elon Musk for Trump is on that.
I mean, he told us.
I really do think that this is basically setting up this, I don't know, what is, did Lex Luthor ever fight another villain? Because I don't want to say one.
Oh, the villain fight.
Yeah. Lex Luthor always beefing with other villains.
Yeah.
What villain? Because I don't want to say
I mean, he's fought against Brainiac. He's fought against,
I don't want to give the Trump administration
Darkseid.
Maybe
Darkseid sounds like a good description.
Yeah,
Darkseid.
Because it's just I feel like we're getting set up to have this Trump versus Musk situation.
Yeah.
Because the flooding in Texas, after he gets done blaming that on Biden,
right?
You blame that on Doge. Well, Doge is the one that cut the money. Doge is the one that fired the people. Elon Musk is the one who's
you've been saying this for a while,
killing the people. Yeah. Elon's well, Trump is on the.
Elon's an immigrant. You know, he's perfect target.
Yeah. Trump is on the list, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all Elon has to do now is basically be here's the files. We have them.
Where's Anonymous when you need them?
They're probably somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody needed Anonymous to step up to the plate right now and hit one out the park, now's the time.
And then people are asking too, because what's the woman's name? The woman that was down with Epstein.
The girl that was given the
because she's in prison right now.
Griselda, but it's not Griselda.
What was her name? I don't
remember.
Maxwell.
Justine.
Yes, something like that.
Giselle.
Something. Well,
look at GH something.
Yeah, a G something. But she's in prison right now. So then it's is she allowed to get out of prison now? I mean, if there's no client list, there's no evidence. Ghislaine,
I don't know.
Ghislaine Maxwell. There's also mad pictures of her and Trump together as well. Again, this is your king.
Is she on federal charges or is she on state charges?
Since the 20 years. Well, this is on the DOJ website, so I'm assuming it's
DOJ.
federal.
I'm guessing a pardon's coming then.
Yeah.
It said from here. It says from 2000. The conspiracy gets deeper. From 2011 to 2019, Pam Bondi was the attorney general in Florida. And
Interesting.
And didn't charge Epstein.
Interesting.
Curiouser and
curiouser.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of crazy.
Interesting.
But you know what? I feel like there's so much happening in the world of, because I'm thinking about the man who came out and was accusing the Tyler Perry Studios of covering up his assault.
Yeah.
This idea that sometimes people of power and privilege are able to use their connections to make things go away.
Of course.
And not necessarily buying off folks, but we see with the Diddy trial, sometimes if you're not on your game, you're not going to be able to get some of these convictions. And so it becomes just for lawyers who want to have these notches on their belts of all these wins, they're probably not going to prosecute a case if you think that there is a client list, right?
But isn't there a difference, Miracle, between, like, again, you running, you know, remember Trump was saying, I'm going to release, I don't think we got the JFK, MLK stuff, but he's going to release all these files and he's going to release the Jeffrey Epstein client list. You have the Attorney General say it's on my desk.
I mean,
I'm going to review it.
If I was MAGA,
and then say like, oh no, there is no client list. Not even like a redacted. Well, I guess obviously if it's redacted, it's probably Donald Trump's name under the redacted.
But I think,
So I mean,
I think people have been pushing like, hey, you can't spin this, right? Just say you're not going to put it out. We know there is some type of client list on there because we have the flight logs, right?
Yes.
And there's been fallout.
Whose name is on the flight log? Donald Trump. Bill Clinton too, but Donald Trump. From these flight logs, and there's this whole conspiracy behind Epstein, right? About like this idea, like Epstein and Diddy were kind of the same. Of like, you have these islands, you throw these parties, you want people to do something incorrect so that you can blackmail them and you can force them to do like whatever and do like your bidding, right? So there is a lot of people who are not buying this story and are saying like, okay, obviously people are being like blackmailed. But I do think it just like goes to show you like, do people have a right not to believe what their government tells them? And if so, what are the consequences of that? Because I think it says in a 2017 interview with author Michael Wolff, Epstein claimed that he was Trump's, quote, closest friend.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I'm trying to be like apolitical in the situation, but I do think.
But why?
No, but because my thought process is, if you are not ruffled by sexual violence that happens every day, you're not going to be ruffled by this.
Right. True.
And I do think that like whether it's the Diddy, whether it is Trump, whether it is these, universities, where there's all these people who turn away from sexual violence, when it happens, they're not going to care. And I don't
think we elected a man as president,
but people
who is a historical for all
liar.
Of his life, not only liar, but also somebody who was charged by multiple women, accused by multiple women of sexual violence.
Our country does not care about sexual violence. Our country does not.
True, but however, there was this group, right? They go by the name MAGA.
Because they wanted to kill gay people. They wanted to kill Democrats.
But their whole thing was like Epstein would show some vast conspiracy, and despite the fact that there was mad videos and pictures of Epstein and Trump, somehow Trump didn't know, or somehow Trump wasn't connected, but all these Democrats were, and they were like, okay, Trump is going to release this information. And obviously, we know why he didn't. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, it's probably, like you said, who's on this client list if we're asking? Probably all the people that donated to his campaign.
I mean, there's been names that have been floated around, but what I am saying is that people were, Pizzagate, all the stuff started because people were coming after Hillary Clinton, because like Hillary Clinton was like disappearing children to drink their blood and to like live forever, right?
Yeah.
That was the end game. The vehicle, the method of that was to talk about sexual assault, sexual violence. So I am saying these MAGA folks did not care about the children, do not care about the rapes and the sexual assault.
100%. I agree.
All they care about is being proven right about
like owning the libs. Yeah.
Right. So it's
like what's his name was crying about it.
Yeah.
Alex Jones was like literally in tears.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah. Alex Jones was in tears that this list wasn't going to release, but somehow it got back to it was the Democrats' fault. No, this is Trump. This is Trump's administration. This is all of these things. So, again, I always wonder what's the breaking point. Obviously, this isn't for them because he's still rounding up immigrants, which they love. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, because me and my friends were talking about this, because it was like growing, like, how do you break free from a cult? Like, what is the breaking point? Because at some point you start to defend the lies.
When you lose
as
your
like,
house,
you know, like, oh my gosh, they're just so smart. You don't see the world as, you know, they don't see it like we see it. So they're obviously right. You can rationalize all these lies away. I think Medicaid may be a little bit of a breaking point. Like
some, I don't think it's going to be
for a little bit when they realized and I think we shared it on the C4 side. Was like, people don't understand what Medicare is actually,
right?
Because it's named different things in different states. So once it gets kicked off, that's going to be like, oh, you're talking about me.
Could you explain how it is, like everything that's encompassed within Medicare? Because I don't even know. So
Medicare is basically health care for people who make under a certain amount a month, or a certain amount like a year, and usually the federal government gives money to the states to carry it out. So like in Pennsylvania, I think it's penny, the the penny thing that they tell people to sign up on, and basically it's like your health insurance. You're able to go to certain doctors, so you can't just go to any doctor. Like, so when I came to Pennsylvania, I was in school. My graduate university said you can only work so many hours a month,
or you wouldn't qualify anymore,
or I wouldn't be able to be a student. That'd be grounds to expel me from the university.
Oh wow!
If I worked more, because they want you to focus on your education. And graduate from the program. So when I was on Medicaid, there's like 5 doctors that I could go to see things, and you would pay, and then you would pay like sometimes your medical copay is like $5, whatever, and that's how you go to the ER, go to the doctor, get your upkeep. The problem is that folks do not understand that it's 1, income driven, and 2, not everybody is physically able to work.
Yeah. Right.
Not everybody can hold.
And that's where Social Security comes into play, right?
Sometimes, but Medicaid does that gap. So, for instance, let's say your child may have severe disabilities. Right. You have to be a caretaker to your child 24/7. You're not able to be. You're able to work. The biggest thing right now for a lot of folks is their parents have Alzheimer's, dementia, and they have people having to be full-time caretakers for their parents, so you can't hold a job, right?
But also, Miracle, nearly 2/3 of Medicaid enrolled adults aged between 19 and 64 are working.
Oh wow!
So 2/3 of the people are actually working,
and they're probably in like states like Wyoming, North Dakota.
Well,
South
wherever they are, it's saying that this legislation, this big bullshit bill, right, will bring nearly $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid. And they're saying almost 12 million people are going to be losing health care coverage. 12 million people.
That's a lot.
There are people who are, I'm talking about the people who are not working, right? Because a lot of people, I don't understand, this person's not working, why can't they just go to work, right? A part of it is a lot of people, because our healthcare system's so messed up, a lot of people are now full-time providers for either elderly parents or children living with disabilities, or even sometimes there are significant others who have disabilities, right? Let alone for themselves also being disabled. Also, when you are on disability, because you have a disability, there is a cap about how much money you can make to provide for other services, right? So, like, a lot of times people think about like streamers, people on social media and TikTok, they can't monetize their platform because then they can get kicked off of the support, and they can be hot today. You know, everybody wants to like download their stuff, and then 6 months be dropped, and they have to start the whole process over. So it's just not a very realistic system that we have. Whereas most people have like a single payer where you don't have to worry about your income.
Well, it also says that 1 of every 5 working adults works for an employer that doesn't offer health insurance.
Yeah.
So sometimes a lot of people are working, but the employer doesn't offer health insurance, and so their health insurance is Medicaid. It says as of 2023, nearly all Medicaid enrollees under the age of 65 and not on Social Security disability were working.
That's crazy.
So again, a lot of small businesses are not required to provide health insurance. Sometimes franchises, if they're like a family-owned franchise, does not have to have health insurance. So like, there's all these like loopholes.
Yeah, they're saying, brother, that estimated 300 rural hospitals,
I read this,
are going to close because of this bill. So again, it does make you wonder.
No, is that just in Pennsylvania? Or is that nationwide?
No, that's nationwide. And it makes you wonder because, again, remember, we talked about Trump saying that they were going to release these Epstein files, that Bonnie was on the desk. Trump also made...
He said he was going to protect Medicare.
A number of statements about Medicaid. Did you want to play that clip, sir?
Going to touch Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. None of that stuff is going to be touched.
Nothing.
I want you to have to. Here's what I want on Medicaid. We're not touching anything. We're not going to touch it. And I'm not going to cut Medicare or Medicaid. Save Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security without cuts. They're going to destroy our health care, but I'm going to save it all, and I'm going to save our country. That's what we're going to do.
What happens if it comes to your desk, has the tax cuts, but also cuts to Medicaid? Would you veto that?
Well, we're not doing that.
Would you veto that?
But you just did that.
I would. I'm not going to.
So again, here is Donald Trump, again, lying. Kind of like you said, bro. Like just playing in people's faces, lying. And now they're like, but again, the way this being spun to the MAGA folks is like, oh, these 12 million people are all illegals.
Yeah.
So that's what they're being told.
Undocumented people cannot even qualify for Medicaid.
Cannot even qualify. But this is what they're being told.
You have to have a Social Security number for a lot of government benefits. If you do not have a Social Security number, you cannot get benefits. The whole thing has already been.
How long do you think it is until we start to get the videos like, I didn't vote for this. I didn't expect Trump to cut my Medicare. I didn't expect for this to happen. I thought I was going to be safe.
But at the same time, and this is the brilliance of Trump, right? Because at the same time this bullshit bill passes, what do? They have this big grand opening of Alligator Alcatraz.
Yeah, man.
Right? So it's like, don't look over here when you're going to wake up and you're going to find out you don't have any health care and your hospital's closing because, look, we're being cruel again to these brown people and these black people. So cheer that on, right? And that's kind of what they did. And again, like, doesn't matter that it looks exactly like a concentration camp, right?
No.
It's like, and somebody was talking about like how they built it so fast. It was like, obviously we can solve homelessness if we wanted to, right?
Absolutely.
But
and
again,
then it started flooding.
Right.
So, but I saw this thing and it was like the Trump, hold on. Oh no, I'm like, it was like the Trump playbook, create a problem, blame somebody else, undo the problem, claim credit. And so people are talking about this means like with Medicare and Medicaid, Social Security, he's probably going to do some big executive order and be like, look, y'all, I saved you. You're going to lose your Medicaid. I've given you health care. I've given you health insurance. There's these things of like, he is going to make it so worse, and that is how he
crazy.
keeps. But that's how
that's what a pimp does, right?
Yeah.
A pimp like beats you and then loves you and then beats you and then loves you.
That's why they can't escape the cult.
They can't escape.
And meanwhile, Democrats are just like,
No, Democrats are like, hey, let's get rid of this Muslim, this Muslim guy that's energizing every young voter across the country. Let's find a way to stop him.
Like, and they're not even introducing bills. Like,
who's the most popular Democrat right now? Oh no, it can't be him.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Somebody was like, today would have been the great day for all the Democrats to come out for single payer and talk about like
Miracle. Hakeem Jeffrey spoke for 8 hours. Okay, give that.
First
man
of all, you know what? If I'm. You know what?
What they gonna do is speak, bro. They gonna speak for a long time.
You know what? I'm gonna say
always
something.
a man.
Always the man that's wasting your time. First Cory Booker, now from Jeffries. Talk, but no action. That is the problem. We need action, sirs.
Yes.
We need y'all to actually do something. Y'all couldn't even get 2 people to like defect when we needed it. It's just
I think they only needed 4 votes.
Like, what are y'all doing? Like, I just do not understand. And here in Pennsylvania,
they're trying to save
a lot
New
of
York
people. A lot of people were just like out here doing the work, and it's just like now people are upset that progressives like, okay, we're fine, we're gonna run. now you have all these people like, okay, now we're going to run. Now we're going to be unapologetically progressive. Now we're going to let go of this progressive except for Palestine. We're just going to lean in, and now we're going to run to save something, what is left, or rebuild something new because we're tired of it. Yeah. And Hakeem and his wants to be like, first of all, I feel like Hakeem wanted to be a rapper. Bush wanted to be like a baseball champion. Trump just wanted to be a stand-up comedian, but they couldn't live their dreams, and now we have to pay the cost and live in this effed up society because they just want to be theater kids and we wouldn't let them. And so now it's just like, come on, bro. Like, I just do not understand. And I saw something that people were like, oh, this is Project 2025. Like, we're in Project 2025. And I was like, oh, the same Project 2025 you told people to stop talking about 2 months before the election? Not that Project 2025.
Well, Miracle, we do have an alternative. If you don't want to be with the Democrats, Elon Musk has started his own party, America's Party, or America. It's so funny because it's like, nigga, you're not even from here.
I'm about to say, like,
he gonna come to the hood and just start throwing.
He's like the Great White Hope.
I mean, but would that be such a terrible thing of him starting a new party? Because wouldn't that, kind of entice people to divest from the Democrats and create another party and have something?
It depends on what we have the Libertarian Party.
Yeah, we have the Green Party.
What is their policies going to be, right? You have the Green Party, we have PSL, we have Working Families Party. So I usually do stuff with like the Working Families Party, right? Like as what an alternative, and
that would be party. That's the equivalent of like what the Labor Party in
it's kind of super progressive, super left leaning. Based in like workers' rights. I do think we need a parliamentarian style democracy.
That's what I was gonna ask. Yeah, something we need, I
think that.
You think that'll ever happen?
It's not working for Israel. I'm just saying. I mean, it's not working over there.
I think I look at the UK. I look at Canada. I do think that because America is so diverse, that we have so many things and so many good policies, but because it's so partisan, we can't get stuff out. Like, for instance, Pennsylvania closed primary. Independents cannot vote during the closed primary. Independents cannot run, right? So then we have to basically have 3 and 4 different primaries a year just because we want people to be heard. When in reality, if we allowed everyone to run in the primary, all the candidates, they put their arguments out there, we could pick who we want to see and then have a really more comprehensive general. And so I do think that if we had, a parliamentary style of democracy, there would be people from the jump who could run, who we could engage, who could share ideas, who we could get behind. And we didn't always have to worry about like, oh, if you vote for this person, you're voting for that. Or if you don't vote for this person. No, I think the Israeli system of things was because they keep coalescing.
Yeah, right. But
they're coalescing was basically
that's the danger, right?
I think is basically going into a unilateral party, and then also the idea of like the Arabs within the party, basically people just pretend they're not there, right? And so it's just like you're there, but like you're not there. We just ignore you.
But isn't this basically Elon Musk? I mean, Elon Musk probably is going to identify these Republicans that don't want to stand with Donald Trump. I think Rand Paul was one of them that voted against the bill. There were 2 other Republicans that voted against the bill.
We have the Forward Party,
the Forward Party, which is Andrew Yang, who supposedly has been in talks with Elon Musk. There was a party that was called No Labels. Remember No Labels, which is a terrible name.
At the end of the day, I feel like all of these billionaires can just like get together, pull their money, like, you know what? Here's some housing. Here's some,
that would be the better thing to do.
Here's some, and nobody would care about all this other type of stuff.
No, they said here's a concentration camp in Florida. Like here, I mean, and that's basically what's happening. They're like, here you go. Here is more. Here is, in Los Angeles, we're going to send all of these ICE agents into the park on some like army war type stuff. Obviously, this was to incite people to try to fight back or intimidate folks. So that's what's happening right now. And again, it doesn't seem like the billionaire. I haven't, Jeff Bezos is getting married and he just bought Venice. He was like, I'm going to just buy Venice for a week.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And just do my thing. So it's like, I haven't seen or heard any billionaires really speaking up against, the billionaires that are trying to figure out how to stop Mamdani.
You know what?
They're not trying to build no house.
They're not. And I think that people are starting to see it. And I always have to be very careful when we have these conversations because I think everybody's eyes are being open to why we say the billionaires are the problem, right? It's not just because they have money. It's that they get money in ways that are just objectively immoral. And then instead of being like the Carnegies, right? Mm-hmm. The Carnegies taught you how to be a billionaire. You screw over people, you kill people, you take land, but then you give it back. And then you support people. And then you do development. And then you engage. Here, they're just like, we need to take.
Yeah.
And then we need to build homes with single stairs. So, like, if there's a fire, you burn alive. Then we need to, like, take parks, but we need to privatize them so then we can call the police if you're there. It's like we have the worst billionaires. We don't have any billionaires who actually, care. Like, they're on the public stage caring, right?
We haven't heard any. We haven't heard from any.
His wife was like, you know what? I don't want to be a billionaire. I'm a good person. Let me try to help.
His ex-wife. You're talking about Mackenzie Scott.
Yes, Mackenzie was like, you know what? No one should be a billionaire, including myself. Let me just try to make a change.
Absolutely.
And there's also different things that people can do. But I think that we see that when people are talking about poisoning water to build something, that's the rest. When we talk about these AI data centers giving Black people cancer, taking water and resources from communities, destroying Memphis, we should be able to say, you know what, maybe there's a better way, a different way for you to make your money. And if you can't make money without harming people, maybe you should not be in business.
But again, I think I agree with you. And I think, again, I look at this, it seems like there are cracks maybe in the MAGA base. Obviously, this attack, you had, again, when you talk about somebody like Laura Loomer, who is an absolutely insane white supremacist, admitted white supremacist, but is also somebody that has access to Donald Trump. He's brought her close, he's brought her aboard his plane and his flights, she's some type of advisor. That wasn't a line that people said, oh, we can't vote for Donald Trump. Look who he has around him.
Yeah.
She said alligator lives matter. The good news is alligators are guaranteed at least 65 million meals if we get started now. People were saying
crazy.
65 million is the number of Latinos that are in the United States. So here's Trump taking away all the protective status. He just took away protective status of people from Honduras and Nicaragua as well. Uh-huh. You have one of his advisors, again, who is an insane person, saying, yo, these alligators are going to eat all these people. We don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Is this, again, I keep wondering, is this the moment? Because I saw a story, and be honest with you, and these people was from Iran, and they took this man's wife, and my man said, I vote for Trump again. And then I was like, well, did you want him to take your wife?
Yeah, I was about to say, that sounds like he got what he wanted. Yeah.
Did you want your wife to get taken by ICE? So again, I don't know. Did you want to play that clip that this was a clip in response to Laura Loomer's tweet about Latino. Somebody said it only took 294 days to get from immigrants are eating animals to we will feed immigrants to animals.
Yeah, that's
crazy. It's crazy.
Influencer Laura Loomer just called for the deaths of all Latinos living in the U.S. Here's what happened. On June 30th, she posted on X, "Alligator Lives Matter." The good news is alligators are guaranteed at least 65 million meals if we get started now. The post is in reference to the newly opened migrant detention facility in the Florida Everglades, mockingly dubbed Alligator Alcatraz by GOP leaders. The nickname is one part of the slew of offensive and dehumanizing comments that have been spewed by the Republican Party regarding migrants in the U.S. But Loomer's message takes it even further. Her mention of 65 million meals is a chilling reference to the estimated number of Latinos living in the U.S. This isn't just satire, it's violent rhetoric. Loomer has a long history of spreading hate. She's been banned from multiple social media platforms for promoting misinformation, hate speech, and harassment, removed from press events, and stripped of credentials. Yet despite this, she remains dangerously close to political power, specifically President Trump's administration. In 2023, Trump even attempted to bring her onto his campaign team. Loomer's words are not isolated. They reflect a broader campaign of anti-Latino hate where cruelty is policy and human lives are being threatened.
It's crazy.
So what's interesting.
How many black people are in the United States?
They say we're 13% of the population, so whatever 13% of 300 million.
I always say like these are crumbs to be like, if we can get rid of 65 million,
we can get rid of and
saying right now 40 million.
So it wasn't. And I said this,
I feel like 40 is a lot less than 60 something.
Yeah, it is. And I think there's more black people in the States, but I get what you're saying.
Obviously there are, because we don't.
Yeah, but also
that
was the part of this bill, increase ICE's budget from $3 billion to $32 billion. That put ICE has a higher budget than most countries in the world. Yeah. And so people are saying, okay, when they're done rounding up these quote unquote immigrants, who do you think is next?
Right.
And you think they're just going to put their weapons down and just go home?
And I said this before, and people hate when I say this. I think Gaza has normalized violence and has normalized our indifference, right? And has shown people how you buy off and reward people for being silent. And then so we have the normalization of violence. This immigrant thing is also conditioning people to be like, oh, call the ICE hotline. Call the ICE hotline. I'm saying, call the ICE. If you think someone's undocumented, call the ICE hotline. Now you don't know who is undocumented or not.
Correct.
But 7 times out of 10, you will know who's black or not. And when they put that number out, you see a black person, call this number.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be very, very easy. And they already started with when he said, I'm going to, after, I forgot the kid's name, who murdered the kid in Texas. And they said, we need to take these most violent criminals and send them to El Salvador, or send them to Alligator Alcatraz. It's already started in people's minds talking about, we need to take violent black men and put them out of the country and put them somewhere else indefinitely. That conversation is already percolating out there.
Absolutely.
And I mean, Trump just came out last week and said, if somebody is violent towards or hitting old women, or what he always says, we need to take their citizens too. They just sent a bunch of people to South Sudan.
Yeah,
right. And only one of them was like
only one of them was South Sudan. So again, we're watching in real time. I mean, again, when you see a military going to MacArthur Park in LA, or when you see them going to Home Depots, like clearly they're targeting people that look Latino or look Mexican. Clearly that's the target, right? Yeah. And I guess now they're starting to go after Haitian people as well. But again, who looks Haitian? You know what I'm saying? Like, who qualifies? If we're in Miami and we're in Little Haiti, like literally, we all probably could. Well, maybe 2 of us could.
There's light skinned Haitians.
I know. It was a joke. Would get grabbed up. So again, what is
being very inclusive? Like, I can get grabbed up too.
I mean.
They about to grab Farouk up. Farouk on the list already. You already know that.
Think about it, because I do sometimes wonder about, like, what is the protection that we should have as we move and we organize? And I do think about like, how do we make sure our staff is safe? Absolutely. How do we make sure like our neighbors are safe? And if that time comes, do we just leave? Do we tell people like to stay and fight? Like somebody was like, I'm staying and fighting for my great city of Philadelphia, and somebody else was like, I'm staying and fighting for my great city of Charlotte, right? People care about different things, but there's also this idea I keep asking is, particularly for Black people, where do we go, right? If someone was like, America is not for you, where do we go? And there's this whole conversation with the ADOS people about like, don't say you're African, just say you're Black, right? Just say you're a Black American. Don't even like, you're not whatever you're in. Like, there's this whole conversation of like, now we just need to like go all in on this American like project and say like, this is our identity now. It's like, no, but like people are having these real conversations out of fear, and it's like, we really do not know the answer. Like, this is a time where we really do not know if in a year we'll be here,
right? And
not being like hyperbole. Like, we could all be like rounded up and deported.
True.
But then also, if they pay you like $10,000 to leave, like, would you leave the United States?
Not for $10,000. You're gonna have to pay me
negotiate
more than that. You're gonna have to pay me a lot more than that. You know what I'm saying?
Right? But yeah, you had something to say.
Oh, it's too late now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, damn! You just cut the.
Well, I mean, I've been trying to talk for like the last 15 minutes, but you niggas are just going, so I just shut up.
I'm gonna talk less next episode.
Well, before we go, there was this our last episode was all about Mamdani and people angry at him. The New York Times put out an article that said Mamdani identified as an Asian and African American on a college application. Ironically, or maybe not ironically, this information came from a admitted white supremacist hacker who the New York Times chose not to identify and protect that person's name or whatever. Is this some type of story? People are looking this again as, individuals like the New York Times and powerful people trying to find a way to stop, Mamdani's rise, or I'm sure this isn't going to be the first story, a negative story about him. The Guardian said, is the New York Times trying to wreck his mayoral bid? Miracle, do you have a comment on this? Or Farouk, I'm sorry.
No, I'm not.
Nobody cares what Farouk says. Go ahead. Miracle?
Go ahead, Farouk.
I have nothing to say.
You do have something to say.
I don't have anything.
Eric Adams, maybe this will cause you to say something to Farouk. Eric Adams called it deeply offensive. That
Eric Adams is deeply offensive. His existence is deeply offensive.
That Mamdani would try to exploit an African American identity even though he is not Black.
I don't know enough about this to have a strong opinion one way or the other. Mm-hmm. Did he list himself as Ugandan or as African American?
He said Mamdani has explained that he was trying to communicate his complicated background.
Right.
His father is Indian Ugandan and his mother is Indian American. Mamdani himself was born in Uganda and lived briefly in South Africa before moving to New York as a child.
Right.
He said, quote, most college applications don't have a box for Indian Ugandan, so I checked multiple boxes trying to capture the fullness of my background. So again,
I get that as someone who's had that issue before.
Yes,
yeah.
He is technically African American, right?
Yeah, in the same way Obama is.
Not in the same way Obama is.
Same way Elon Musk is.
In the same way.
I'm sorry. In the same way Elon Musk is. I forgot myself.
Yes. But again, if his father is from Uganda, although he's not African, he's an Indian.
Right. But that also speaks to the multiculturalism of Africa. That it's not just monolithic.
100%, right? Because, I mean, we know there's a
lot of Indians in
Chinese
East Africa.
people that are born in Jamaica.
Right.
And can speak Jamaican patois.
Patois. I mean, that's their motto out of many people won.
And if they moved here, you could say they were Jamaican Americans, although ethnically they're Chinese, right?
Correct. All of that is correct, yes.
Yeah. So
which is why it's an important conversation to know the difference between nationality and ethnicity.
It says
because they be kicking my ass.
I know that.
What do you mean you know that?
Because I've heard
First
you make
of all,
the mistake.
stop. Stop.
Which is why I tend to lead with epithets.
When I announce my shortcomings, I don't know, and you'd be like, I agree.
Always a man.
But Miracle, is this because people have said, right, it says the New York Times editor responded to criticism of the story because, again, people were saying, like, you know, this white supremacist hacker gets protected, right? But that this story's like not really new. So
he was 17.
Wait, the New York Times editor said that the paper's mission is to help readers better know and understand top candidates for major office. Soledad O'Brien, who we know and love, called that explanation a joke and said the publication of the Mamdani story is an absolute embarrassment for the New York Times.
It is an embarrassment. And somebody was like, are you going to go now and do all of the applicants' college records? Because if not, it's a problem. But so even through all of this, the story is incomplete because allegedly there is not a full download of his application, because he said he checked multiple boxes and then wrote in Ugandan in one of the boxes. One leak says he is listed as black, non-Hispanic. Another person said we believe the application he used said black/African American, but the New York Times said he ran as an African American. Didn't say he ran and called himself black. So even within this New York Times story, nobody actually knows what he said and what he checked.
And which is why, I don't know enough about this.
And what he did or did not write, because it's a partial download leak. So we have what was coded out, not necessarily what he wrote and what he submitted and some of the stuff. Like there's not an actual published copy of his full application. So he could have, in theory, checked the box and then parentheses wrote Ugandan, and then this whole story goes away. Or he could have done it on the second section where it was like put in your nationality, and then he could have done it where it was listing more countries and then wrote in Ugandan. We do not know, right? Thankfully now we have a modern era and we have a drop downs and people can write in however they want to identify. Really couldn't do it, back in the day. And so I think this story, people were like, it doesn't make sense. He was 17. Then you realize he didn't even get into Columbia. So it was like, now we have a non-starter. But I do think that people do not understand nationality, ethnicity, and I really hope that he leans into teaching people like the difference.
It's also a point to say that like this racial conversation is very much indicative of how much of a social construct this is, because like race means different things in different parts of the world. Like anecdotally, when I'm in Canada, I'm a black American because my parents came from slavery. I'm not black Jamaican. I'm not Afro-Canadian in the sense of like, oh, my parents came from Africa or Jamaica or Trinidad or something like that. But when I'm in the States, I'm a black Canadian because even though we came from slavery, I'm from Canada. So those two different racial identities mean two completely different things depending on where I am. It doesn't change who I am. But someone as like Mamdani, who has a very complex ethnic background compounded with a national background, and now he's grown up in America, that just like that furthers like it's a construct. It's
compounded by British imperialism, because why were your people in Uganda in the first place? There we go.
Like, you know what I mean? Yes.
So and I had this conversation. I was like, how do we even begin to identify like race and ethnicity and nationality? Because is it by our cultural leanings? Because we were talking about how do we define blackness, right? Is it the one drop rule? Because the one drop rule was how white people define blackness. It wasn't how black people define blackness. And you get
definitely like not how Miracle defines it.
And then you get
you want to have way more than one drop for Miracle.
If it was up to Miracle, I wouldn't even be allowed to say nigga.
And then
that stutter was everything right there.
And then you get into like, how do the indigenous people define blackness? Is that matrilineal or patrilineal? Is it that you have to know the tongue of your ancestors or the prayers of your ancestors? Is it because you have to be raised a certain way? Like, Identity is very complex, and now with the white supremacy breeder situation, it gets even worse because now you have people intentionally trying to build multiracial families so they can have racist kids, so their racist kids can do racist things and not get held to account for.
Is that happening?
It's weird. Yes, it's just so.
I would say that one of the most prominent athletic figures in the world is byproduct of that.
There are two. There are
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
There are nationalist breeders and the breeder is this movement where you are supposed to have as many kids as you possibly can for a political purpose, and usually the political purpose is like racial purity.
Yeah, correct.
It's a very weird movement, but it's in.
But you're saying they're having,
but there's also other people
children
who do multiracial things because they believe that like the one drop rule that means their child can
just be racist.
Yes. And it's weird. Wild. They want little Sage Steels, running around.
Oh my to me, the deep part about
it's just weird.
But to me, when you get into like the whole thing around Mamdani, is the fact that none of these things. It's never about any of his policies. Like it's
it's about
what he's saying he's going to do, what he wants to do.
What has been the motive of both parties?
Oh, of course, because all his policies are wildly popular.
Yeah,
and so especially to young people trying to live and survive. Again, many who might get kicked off of Medicare in the coming days. So now affordability, being able to live somewhere and afford to live somewhere becomes even more dire in this situation.
But yes. What did the Democrats do during this election? They focused on Kamala's policies, right? And what did the Republicans do? They focused on Trump.
Right.
They focus on the individual, right?
Well, Trump and them also focused on, like, their whole thing was this cultural piece. And it's again, what we saw happen to Kamala is exactly what they're doing to Mamdani right now.
Yeah,
exactly.
and they're hyper-focusing on the person.
Yeah.
Right? And now it's like they're looking at this as a way of the Republicans and the Democrats are finally have united against a common foe.
100%. Yeah.
Right? And they're using the worst of both of their tactics to throw at this man.
Right.
Where the Republicans are focusing on, okay, he's a socialist, he's an extremist, he's a Marxist, he's an Islamist, all these other things. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. We was recording the show. Did you want to answer that?
No. Go ahead.
And the Democrats are focusing on him as an individual. And they're, trying to show how wildly distrustful he is because of his ethnic background.
Yes.
And it's just like, it's so fascinating to me to see Mamdani is the one that brought the Democrats and Republicans together in New York City.
It's crazy.
It's fucking nuts. And even nationally.
It's nuts.
Like, this is a bizarro world.
It is. And like, this is the wild part. And the wild part is because the popularity of his policies.
Is he too big for this to work against him?
We're going to see, right? Because if these young people come out the way they did, they're going to
raise the voting age.
They won.
They're going to raise the voting age if he wins.
But again, that might happen. But again, it's like you would think the Democrats would look and say, wow, here are some very popular policies that we should adopt.
You would think that, but that would make sense.
Well, to adopt those policies mean you can't go to these billionaires and get your money. Because remember, who was backing Cuomo? The same billionaire class that backed Donald Trump backed Cuomo, right? We've seen that happen. And so the question becomes for the Democrats, it's like, are you willing to cut yourself off from these clearly white supremacist billionaires? Because all the stuff Trump was doing was not a bridge too far for them. Laura Loomer and all of these crazies that he has around him was not a bridge too far for them. For Mamdani, because it's his policies trying to make these cities livable for everybody is like what the majority of the people need now more than ever. So it's going to be fascinating to watch. You know what I'm saying? I just have one more story I just wanted to mention before we close. Because again, it's just one of these headlines that just makes me laugh. GOP official just banned "Everyone is welcome here" signs in schools because they're too democratic.
What? But I'm not surprised.
They banned.
I'm not surprised.
"Everyone is welcome here" signs. This is the attorney general.
Don't put the truant officer on me, nigga, when I don't show up to school. It's that simple.
Everyone is welcome here is a bridge too far for the Republican Party. Again, hey.
This is America.
This is America.
This is the America they always wanted.
Don't catch you slipping now.
Yes, man.
Won't catch you slipping now. Yeah, it's wow. With that, any final comments?
We have a book.
Oh, we do have a book, and is that the book we're using or this book?
Oh, we use that was
okay. I mentioned this book last time, The Good Muslim, Bad Muslim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want people to read it.
Yes, but we also got a book gifted to us.
We love gifts.
Mailed to us and sent to us. So the person's name wasn't on, but whoever sent this book to us, we appreciate you. It's called Black Girl, You Are Atlas, New York Times bestseller by Renee Watson. Black Girl, You Are Atlas, You Know the Way Back, the Way Forward. Black Girl, You Are Atlas, the way no one expected you to be, the fulfillment of prophecy, but it is you always who holds the world up. A thoughtful celebration of Black girlhood by author and poet Renee Wilson. So if you want to send us books, please do. We'll give you a shout out on the show. Black Girl, You Are Atlas. That is our white pages for this week. And we have a special event coming up Saturday when we are celebrating the life of Antoine Rose II, who was, killed by a police officer on June 19th, on Juneteenth, 2018. Every year we come together with his family to celebrate his birthday. We're doing that at the Rankin Community Center at 2 p.m. this Saturday. So if you're in the Pittsburgh area, you want to celebrate the life of Antoine Rose, we ask you to come out for that celebration. Anything else happening, Miracle?
A lot of events, though. We do also just want to lift up. A lot of people are also just grieving. There's been a lot of gun violence over the weekend. True. And just like gun violence, community violence, police violence. We know from Erie to Allegheny, people are grieving. So just want to make sure that people reach out, for the resources that they need to talk to folks, to engage, and to really just lift up their stories, just so people know if there are support and resources out for them. And so please be mindful of this summer that we all need to come together, work together to save folks.
Absolutely right. Chicago, Philadelphia, a lot of places. Like you had mentioned, a young man was killed by a parole agent in Erie. And so it's a lot happening. Hold your folks close. Hold your community close. Did you have final words?
We had an announcement to make.
Oh, yes. Yes. So we have, I'm glad. Thank you for reminding me.
Miracle reminded us.
Okay. Thank you, Miracle, for reminding us. Because there were at one time 4 of us. A lot of people have asked us, what happened to Trouble? Where is Trouble? Trouble has moved on from one hood. We wish Trouble nothing but success and whatever his next journey and opportunities are. So Trouble won't be coming back, but we do, have love for Trouble and want Trouble to be as successful in his next endeavor as he was when he was with one hood. Anything else?
Nope.
Oh, I did have, there was a black male that I did want to read.
We should have blackmail earlier in the show.
We do, and then also there are more books people sent us, so we're gonna the next couple episodes we're gonna share the books that people sent us in addition to our white pages.
It says, "Dear One Hood," it says, "Keep bringing me home. Because of your brilliance, I've been compelled to write you. I absolutely love the One Hood label and what it represents." And so this is Josh in Virginia, talked a little bit about his own upbringing, which I appreciate. He says, and Josh, we know you're in Virginia. We wishing you safety, security, and love. He says, "I haven't missed a single episode since your first day on Free Speech TV.
Oh, wow.
I now watch you on YouTube. Thank you, Jasiri, for creating community in your hood and that sacred table. Thank you, Miracle, for laying down the law. And thank you, Farouk, for being the bombastic, super awesome Islamic dude."
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, Josh.
Keep up the good work of standing up for those who can't. I can't wait for your episodes to drop on Wednesday. Love you all. So, Josh in Virginia, we appreciate the love.
We got to send Josh a merch.
We definitely. Josh, send us your address. We'll send you something. If you want to send us a blackmail, info@onehood.org, info@onehood.org. If you want to send it directly to Miracle, her number is 4.
You're a hater. Oh my gosh, you know what? It's okay. Now I'm taking the whole month of August off for mental health and healing. Oh, but yes, I know. We're going to cross promo right quick. This is going to be an announcement. I have a other podcast called Brunch with a Black Man. It airs Saturdays at 12 p.m. You look up Brunch with a Black Man on Facebook. Our season 2 finale episode is going to be with Roy Wood Jr. He's talking about his life as a comedian, what happened for him as a correspondent, what's next for him, how he brings joy and laughter. Saturdays, 12 p.m. Tune in to Brunch with a Black Man, and I hope you get to see a different side of me. So please tune in.
With that being said, is that your last word?
Yes.
Last word, Farouk?
These are the last words of a hanging slave. How can I forget this? I robbed you, put you on my hit list.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This week, White Supremacy.
Tune in Saturday.
Peace.
Noon.
See y'all.